Shalom, all praises to Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, and double honors to the apostles and the elders, great millstone by Shem Rakak. My name is Yakabo from Playing Tables Camp in Philly. This lesson is 1 Maccabees 1-9. Evils were multiplied in the earth. We start here at Daniel 7-6. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. So the leopard is referring to the Greek Empire, and the 4 are referring to his generals that were under him, the 4 principal ones. There were more than 4, but the 4 principal ones. So you're going to click on because you have the Babylonians, the Persians, and the Medes, the Greeks, and then the Romans. And the Greeks and the Romans were the only 2 nations that were Edomites, that ruled by the nation of Edom, that assimilated the culture of the Greeks and the Romans. Now, they even tell you here when you click the cross reference, the Greek Empire founded by Alexander the Great, because he united the Greek city-states by conquering them, not willingly. All right. And then he want to conquer east. The leopard is Alexander the great, so-called great, founding the Edomite Greek Empire. All right. Now, evils are multiplied on earth. So I'm gonna give 2 examples: repopulation example and air pollution, water pollution, fish pollution. Now, I read when you burn oil and gas, coal, it naturally has mercury in it. So from what I researched very briefly, those are the main ways and the most abundant ways that mercury gets into the air and into fish. So each year, coal-fired plants worldwide emit vast quantities of mercury, of which some 2,000 metric tons enter into the world's oceans in gas form. Once it is in seawater, the heavy metals, which can adopt various chemical forms, can pose hazards to marine ecosystem, and you consume the fish. So that's why you have to detox. All right, you have to detox, and there's like a chain of smaller fish, smaller life forms absorb the mercury. Then the bigger fish, as the fish get bigger and bigger and bigger to apex predators, they consume all that mercury. So the apex predator has the highest amount of mercury. So that's why you shouldn't be eating sharks and those big short swordfish and those big fish. All right. Now, if they're clean fish, meaning that they're we go to Leviticus, the 11th chapter, fish we eat with fins and scales, and they happen to be bigger, you have to that's got to detox. All right, you got to detox. All right, you have to heavy metal detox if you eat a lot of fish. All right, evils are multiplied in the earth. Let's see one for that. There's Maccabees, 1 Maccabees 1-9. Oh, well, so 1-7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bear rule, everyone on his place. Was the four heads, the 4 wings. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. And evils were multiplied in the earth. So that's what the lesson's based around. All right. So when Esau burns oil and gas, he throws mercury into the air and into the earth, into the soil, into the waters. It says, and there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been a hostage at Rome, and he reigned in 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks, meaning the Edomites that took over the Japhetic kingdom. All right, so they usurped their power over the Greeks, the actual Japhethites. Now, evils were multiplied in the earth. It's another example. Genesis 27:40. This is how we know that Alexander, his generals, the 4 principal generals, and the Romans too, the Edomite Romans. They're Edomites because Genesis 27:40 was Esau's blessing. And by the sword shalt thou live. All right. When you live by the sword, that means when you move forward to get land, to get resources, to expand, to grow, you do it by killing people. All right. You do it through violence. That's what live, and by thy sword shalt thou live. Look up live. We got Chaya. That's how you're going to remain alive. That's how you're going to sustain your own life in a way that is successful, usually in earning a lot of money. All right. Live forever. Well, ain't living forever. But by the sword shalt thou live. To live prosperously. All right. That's the next one. Yeah, that was it. All right. Genesis 32:6. And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, we came to thy brother Esau, and also he cometh to meet thee, and 400 men with him. Right, because remember the blessing, the blessing and curse of Cain. Remember, said if anybody sees him, encounters him, they're going to kill him. All right, and Yahweh said, "No, I'm gonna put a mark on you, and I'm going to protect you." All right. Because Cain was raised up to be a murderer in the earth, to be evil in the earth, and that same spirit is in Esau. All right, Esau, and also he cometh to meet thee, and 400 men with them, and Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed. All right, so why did Esau need an army? Because his blessing was the 27th chapter, I just read. By the sword shalt thou live. So he was already militant. All right. Esau was already militant. Jacob was not militant. You know, even though hand in hand, Jacob would have beat the shit out of Esau. All right. But he had that sword. He was bearing the sword. Jacob wouldn't be able to deal with that sword. All right. Because that's not our blessing. The sword is not our blessing. Even though we're mighty men, the Most High, Yahweh and His Son, Yahweh Shai, gave Esau the power over the sword. Our power is the Spirit. Our link to the Holy Spirit, that's our power. All right. So we got that. So these are attributes of Esau. That's how we know who Esau is. So when you look up in the Septuagint with the Apocrypha, Brenton, I just took a photo. Maccabeon A Alpha. All right. Go with the 9th verse. It says, and after his death, they all put crowns. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. So you go over to 9. So the word there is, we got eplethunon, kaka intege, which means what, kai, and multiplied evil, bad, in the earth. All right, so we got multiplied here, eplethunon, kaka. You got ge, which means earth. It's gamma eta. All right. Now we got eplethunon, They increased. All right. It's got the keyboard and put the letters in and found a translator. They increase. A plethonon, they increased. Kaka. All right. Kaka. Bad. Evil. Let's see. Evil, bad, poop, devil. Perverse, cruel, malevolent, malicious, hurtful. So they increased. Evil, bad. So we read, and after his death they all put crowns upon themselves, so did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. All right. So these are the attributes of the Edomites. This is how we know who they are. Click on evil again. Devil. All right, so Esau's a devil. Goddamn down here diabolic. Hope you can see that. You're probably watching on your phone. Evils. All right, so this is Esau. All right, these are his attributes. This is how we can identify him. All right. Then we go to the 33rd chapter. And Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came with him, and with him 400 men. All right, so Jacob divided his family. They were together, but they were divided. So if he started smiting them, some of them can get away. All right, you should be familiar with that story already. Now, my last part is how evils are multiplied in the earth. All right, we got Alexander and the Mangled People, the video I did March 7th, 2022. So we're gonna let that play. So here's an example. All right, while Philip was making an expedition against Byzantium, Alexander, though only 16 years of age, was left behind as regent in Macedonia, but only a keeper of the royal seal. And during this time, he subdued the rebellious Mede, and after taking their city, drove out the barbarians, right, which are more than likely Japhites. All right, or Japheth, because Japheth inhabited the land. All right, settled there a mixed population, or Irab, mixed, and named the city Alexandropolis. All right, so I looked up Alexandropolis and took part in battle against the Greeks. All right, so how did Alexander conquer the Greeks, the actual native Greeks that were the seed of Japheth? All right, through war. So I looked up Alexandropolis, and check this out. Alexandropolis, in the Thracian region of the Medians, was the first town founded in 340 BC by Alexander the Great. He was 16 years old after defeating the local Thracian tribe, and he called them barbarians. All right, so there you go. That's that labeling thing. And they were Greeks. As a region, its name was chosen by analogy with the Philippopolis, the town of Thrace founded by Alexander's father, Philip II. He expelled the locals and settled a mixed population. All right, so if your mind was racking around why do so many Europeans look like so-called white people? Why do some of them, the ones in, you know, this region look sort of mixed? All right. This is why. And this was done on large scales. This kept happening over and over again. All right. So burn this into your head. Why do the Europeans look like so-called white people? Why do some of them look mixed when you start going toward the east? Read again. He expelled the locals and settled a mixed population. All right. That's why. All right. And you go back to the Greek, English translation. He settled there a mixed population and named the city Alexandropolis. And this proves that, you know, that Alexander, he's not actually Greek. All right. He stole their culture. All right. He fought against the Greeks. Those Thracians, those are the real Corinthian, all those Greek city-states and cities and towns. Some of them were Greeks. Other ones were different tribes of Japheth. But he was fighting against the Greeks. Alexander is not Greek. He's an Edomite. All right. Maybe his kingdom started with Macedonia, or he stole that too. But we know he damn sure wasn't an actual Greek. All right. Still got some more information on here. This is, and evils are multiplied in the earth. All right. That's the theme of this lesson. All right. Then when you go down, some more information on how the Edomites, or that look, that Cesare Borgia look, the Edomite look, the so-called white man look, got into Greece, Italy, Europe. In consequence of these exploits, as was natural, Philip was excessively fond of his son, so that he even rejoiced to hear the Macedonians call Alexander their king. But Philip, their general, however, the disorders in his household, due to the fact that his marriages and amours carried into the kingdom the infection, as it were, which reigned in the women's apartments, produced many grounds of offense and great quarrels between father and son, and these had bad temper among Olympians. All right. So we look up amours, due to the fact that he had marriages and amours. This is secret or illicit love affairs or lovers. All right. And he was, you know, having sex with a lot of women of the other nations. All right. The most open quarrel was brought on by Attalus, the marriage of Cleopatra, a maiden whom Philip was taking to wife, having fallen in love with the girl when he was past the age for it. All right. Europe became more, you know, Caucasian looking because of, you know, marriages, different concubines, you know, Alexander and his father had, and the Romans did the same thing. All right. He conquered the city, expelled the inhabitants, the native Greeks, and called the land after their own name. When you look up Philip had, I believe, Cleopatra here was Macedonian, but the other wives that Philip, Alexander's father, took were all either actual Japhites, either Greek Japhites or northern Japhites that were above Greece. All right. It says the most open quarrel was brought on by Attalus at the marriage of Cleopatra, a maiden whom Philip was taking to wife. I believe this is the seventh wife, and she was actually a Macedonian, Edomite. But his wives before were Japhetic wives. So that's another reason why people believe that the so-called white man is Japheth, is because the Edomites mingled their seed amongst Japheth. All right, so when people come out with these lessons, they say the so-called white man is really Japheth, which he's not. So-called white man is they're Edomites, Esau. All right, the Japheths weren't given the blessing of the sword. All right, the Japhethites, they were not given the blessings of the sword. And I believe Alexander's mother was a actual Japhethite. I don't believe she was an Edomite. So these are Alexander's this is Renaissance picture. These are the 7 wives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And these are all Greek or northern Japhetic women, except for, I believe, the last one, Cleopatra. I believe she was Macedonian, but the other ones were actual Japhethites. So Esau mangled his seed amongst Japheth. All right, and of course, when you look them up, they're all gonna look like all Edomites. All right, Esau is Edomite washing images, but these are Japhethites. All right, these are Greek names. You know, pure Greek names, which Alexander was not Greek; he was Macedonian. All right, Philip was not a Greek; he was a Macedonian. He was an Edomite. All right, Edomite, Esau, and Japheth are 2 distinct people, 2 distinct nations. And amongst Japheth, you have different nations amongst Japheth. All right, and one of them is Helen, or Greeks. And you look up Genesis 4:22. It says, and Zillah, she also bare Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron, and the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. Look up Strong's. Look up Tubal-Cain. We got Thobal Quayan, which means no, it don't mean thou will be brought to Cain. It means Yabal Quayan. Yabal means to carry, to bring forth. All right, and Quayan, Cain, means weapon, a sword, or carrying a weapon. All right, thou will be brought of Cain. Thou will carry a sword. That's what it means. Thou will be brought of Cain. Thou shalt carry a sword. Thou shalt carry a weapon. All right, that's how it should read. All right, so this is the spirit of the Edomites. All right, the blessing was from the beginning, even before Esau. All right, because we're all spirits first, and then we take corporeal form in the flesh. All right, and we got the 23rd verse. And Lamech said unto his wives Adah and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech, hearken unto my speech. This is the descendants of Cain. For I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. So he know that eventually he gonna be put to death. All right, else he wouldn't have said to my hurt. All right, if Cain shall be avenged 7-fold, truly Lamech 70 and 7-fold. So Lamech was even more of a murderer than Cain. Technically, Cain only killed 1 person. All right, that's recorded anyway. All right, it doesn't record everything. It just gives a synopsis on our beginnings. And Cain was a murderer. Lamech was a murderer. All right. Then the flood happened. So what happened? So after the flood happened, those spirits were reincarnated into the progeny of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And then the various nations that broke down between those 3. All right. So the Lord didn't just get rid of all those people that were on the earth and say, you know what, y'all burning in hell. Y'all just waiting as some type of station. No, those spirits that were back on the earth before the flood reincarnated through Shem, Ham, and Japheth. All right, that's how the cycle works. All right. So that's it there. All right, so I think I'll end the lesson there. Evils are multiplied on the earth. They increased. Got Eplethunan. They increased. And Kaka, evil, bad. And the devil. And the devils increased on the earth through the Edomites. Eplethunan, Kaka. All right. And evils were multiplied in the earth. All right, so that's how you figure out who the devil is, who Esau is. All right, so hope you edified. Shalom.